And now back to The Good Life with Jack Stevens and Jodie Eisenhardt on Livin Large.
Welcome, Kelly Gale Amen, a local artist and custom furniture maker extraordinaire. Kelly, when I looked at your website, I was struck by all the things you do. You're a modern-day Renaissance man. Not only do you have a unique approach to interior design, but you also create these incredible pieces of art in the form of custom furniture. How did that happen?
My life in Houston began in 1972, having been raised on a ranch in Oklahoma. When I arrived in Houston, I realized that I had the ability to help clients, new people, new art supporters take their spaces and turn them into three-dimensional opportunities to express themselves with my guidance.
I love it. I love it. That's what I thought was so interesting, because you talked about on the website that your approach was not a generic designer approach. You know, when somebody comes in and they choose what you should have in your home, that's not what you're about.
It is not what I'm about. I believe that you should first start with the client and do what I call the flip. Look at what they own, look at what they live with, then take it and show it to them how they've never seen it. At that moment, they will know what they don't love, and you as a designer have the ability to start taking them into a new course or a new way of seeing their three-dimensional space.
And so because of that, you ended up creating custom furniture because you couldn't find the things that you needed to help people do that.
That is exactly true. In 1990, I was working on a project in Atlanta, and I realized I couldn't find the perfect art furniture bench for their courtyard. I took sketches, went to the foundries in that area of the country, and wound up working with the foundry from 1990 to the current day, where each of the pieces are signed, numbered, and their additions, so that what I have is a documentation of using the old format of cast metal or fabrication and creating an art form.
Wow.
Well, you've taken your gift also, and you're actually giving back to charities. One of your major projects is the art benches. And tell us a little bit more about that. How did that get started?
Commemoration. There's nothing more wonderful to find a way to fund something that you love. Currently, I'm working with the Xena Garrison Academy, and I've taken one of my fabricated benches, created their own bench, which uses tennis rackets, tennis balls. It's laser cut. The additions are such that they're numbered, and it's a way for a patron to give that foundation money and also that foundation to have a functional piece of art.
And they're all over the world, as a matter of fact. You just came back from Russia, you said?
I did. The excitement of it is that it's really wonderful when you can be creative and that you can find an audience that loves it. Russia. I was there last summer where we dedicated 2 benches for General Stafford, one of the original astronauts at the American Embassy and at the Cosmonaut Museum, honoring the 40 years of man in space and the Apollo Soyuz mission.
Wow. And then you also traveled to China most recently. And
Yes, this year I've been to China twice. I was invited by the highest intellectual property alliance in May of this year to do a profile on luxury design globally, which at that point they asked me to show them more and more of my work. I did, and then I just returned this past week, having gone back to China, doing a lecture at Decor Art Institute, and as well another lecture at the high-end patron visual usage.
Well, the China thing is so fascinating to me, and we talked a little bit about just the emerging culture and the passion of these people in China. Tell us about your interactions with them and how they feel about the things as they are in China now.
Being in China is like being at the beginning of any wonderful new energy field. The Chinese people are interested in what's happening globally. They have the aspiration to learn, to see, to embrace, and be part in new. My design is very different, and they're very excited on how I put that together, why I'm putting it together the way I do, and how I can show them how to do. Myself, I'm excited about working there as a designer because they have the world's greatest reserve of materials.
Well, I have a question for you, and it's a little out of left field, but as an interior designer, do you find yourself rearranging your furniture a lot?
I think that's what a great question. Good design is a process. It never stops. It is ongoing, because it's like a fabulous wardrobe. You never wear the same thing constantly, but you always love pulling it out of the closet, looking at it. So I think that to keep a space alive, you need to keep moving it and altering it to keep it in its youth.
So you keep it from getting stagnant and keeping it fresh.
Absolutely. And what it does is it allows you to look at the day differently every time you look at a room.
And lastly, about the art benches, how many programs do you have now?
I have 12.
12 programs. That's crazy. It's awesome.
Well, the commemorative art bench program really depends on what the foundation wants and if they're willing to also promote themselves where you have a piece in public which is an icon of their institution.
Do you have any favorite pieces in particular?
Well, we spoke of the Xena Academy. I love that bench. It's a new bench. I love the Stafford bench, simply of how it happened working with General Stafford. And I asked him if it's possible for him to help me. And he said, well, Kelly, you do the creative part. So I threw my business cards out, and he sketched the vessels that he had commanded, and that's what became the logo of the bench, the repeat of all of the vessels that he commanded in outer space. Also, favorites are very difficult because they rotate like good design. I love the Wildflower bench, which we dedicated last year at the Lady Bird Johnson Center in Austin, commemorating Laura Bush.
Awesome. Well, we're talking with Kelly Gale Amen. Kelly, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And for more information on Kelly's work, visit his website at kga.net or a link from our Facebook page, Livin Large Houston. We'll be right back with more right here on News 92 FM.
Livin Large with Jack Stevens and Jodie Eisenhardt. We'll be right back.